Back at it again, baby. We have another one with Candace Owens. Let's dive in.
Intense state of politics right now. We have Charlie Kirk, founder and president of Turning Point USA, and Candace Owens, Turning Point's communications director. They're in Washington to meet with the president. Welcome to you two. Can I just first ask, what is this event, and what are we going to be seeing the next couple of days here in D.C.?
You know, we had received so much interest over a period of time in this sort of youth black conservative movement, and it felt like we really wanted to harness the power and the opportunity and invite everyone to D.C., first and foremost, to bring them to conservative ideas. A major hurdle that the black community faces is not having the resources to get to different ideas and sort of being locked inside of a bubble. And having them listen to speakers that they perhaps haven't heard before, Dr. Ben Carson, Larry Elder, people who are routinely mocked in our community. So this is the first ever opportunity to do that.
Like I said before, I think it's important that we hear from different voices and different opinions. I don't think it's good for us to only hear things that we totally and 100% agree with. But that's just me. Y'all can let me know how you feel.
In D.C., and we're really excited that it's happening this weekend.
Charlie, what are you hoping that the president gets out of these interactions?
Well, I first want to take a step back and just give Candace Owens credit for changing the national conversation around these issues from a conservative kind of perspective over the last year. When I first met Candace, one of the first things she said, Charlie, I think we can have a young black leadership summit that can be a lot bigger than any of the pundits or the consultants would ever dream. And I mean, tomorrow, 400 plus young black leaders from across the country. That's an accomplishment that, especially of a conservative, tilt, if you will.
And the number could have been much higher.
That's right. And so the number could have been higher, and it was the last minute influx of interest. And we had probably 5x that in applicants and in inquiries. But what Candace Owens and our urban engagement director, Brandon Tatum, have done at Turning Point USA to really garner more interest amongst the black community for conservative values, I think it's worth having the conversation, and it's something that, given all the recent news and attention around these issues, I think is something that will be quite interesting tomorrow.
Candace, there's obviously a bit of skepticism. As long as I've been in the game of conservative politics, as long as I've been a conservative, which is probably about sophomore year of high school, there have been conversations about how do conservatives win over more of the black community. There have been some prominent leaders. You mentioned Dr. Ben Carson, others who have come forward and have tried to get this conversation going. What are you seeing that's different now, really? Like, why is it? I mean, to Charlie's point, he's saying that you've changed the conversation. How and why is the conversation different?
It's funny that you say that, because I was able to meet with Dr. Ben Carson early on this year, and we spoke about that. Like, what are the differences? Why are people paying a little more attention now? And I think that, and to his credit, in the past, the conversation was almost so intellectual that it was hard for people to digest and process and to understand. And because the left had won the culture war, it was easy for them to mock them,
Yeah, if you start using a bunch of big words and saying a bunch of, these over-the-top fancy things, and not everybody has this expansive vocabulary where they're using I don't know if you guys watched the Michael Dyson debate with Jordan Peterson. He was just like saying some stuff and I was, what'd you just say? Maybe I'm just an idiot and uneducated, but even if that is the case, you have to, if you want to convince me on any type of level, you have to speak to me in a way that I understand. So if you're telling me a bunch of these big words and, it just goes in one ear and out the other, because I don't even understand what you're saying.
A skit where perhaps Dr. Ben Carson or Dr. Condoleezza Rice are being mocked. And I think I'm a little more of a fighter, definitely in terms of starting my channel on YouTube and wanting it to be colloquial and wanting it to...
She's definitely a fighter. We've seen that.
...feel familiar, like you were talking to your brother and sister, and sort of taking back some of the turf that was lost on the culture war by making fun of people on the left in the same way that they make fun of us. I think that sort of helped bridge the gap and make people more interested in having the discussion.
Does it bother you that there's no prominent African Americans in the White House itself? Do you think
sure
that's
there is.
important?
Jerron, Dr. Ben Carson's part of the executive branch. That's not true. That's not true.
Well, within the White House itself.
Jerron is an executive with Jared Kushner.
What is his role?
He's a DAP, which is a Deputy Assistant to the President of the United States, which is a top tier. So that's not true.
Who are other individuals in the White House?
Well, I want to go back and answer your question. So, one thing that we always speak when we speak to conservatives about is we have to stop believing in this illusion that because somebody is black, they represent my interests. Mm-hmm. We learned that lesson via Barack Obama. I mean, he was in the White House for 8 years and didn't do much for the black community. So I'm not interested in the color of people's skin. So I'm interested in what they do and what they accomplish.
I'm really interested in your...
I ain't interested in what you got to say. I'm interested in what you actually doing. it goes back to the old saying, actions speak louder than words. Don't tell me a bunch of stuff. Show me. That's just the way that I see it.
Perspective here. Yeah. So to you having, like, you don't look at, it is an administration that has more white men than past administrations have had.
Yeah,
but that doesn't bother you. You don't think that diversity is important?
No, not at all. I think that we have to stop believing that diversity is the color of people's skin, because if you have, like, the Black Caucus, for example, which didn't stand up and applaud when Trump announced that we had the lowest ever unemployment in the black community, that's concerning to me. So a big part of the conversation that we open is in making people understand that's an illusion that the left has sold, that somehow because somebody matches my skin color, because somebody matches my gender, they have my best interests at heart, and that is completely fallacious.
I have to ask about Kanye. You two have been seen, photographed with, spent.
Yes, ma'am. Right on. Just because somebody has the same skin color as me doesn't mean we think the same. And the fact that they would not applaud when apparently Trump said that was there was the lowest black unemployment. It's just like, wait, what? If it's a true statement, first off, if it's a true statement that Trump said that, and if it's a true, if the statement that he said was in fact true, why wouldn't you be happy about that? I don't know. It's just weird. Maybe that's just me.
Time with Kanye. I got a tremendous, we have to speak about it on the show, got a tremendous amount of attention from the media from a recent meeting in the Oval Office. How does he factor? Look, I feel like conservatives play this game that we go back and forth. If anybody who's famous starts talking in any way that conservatives like, we embrace them right away, and then sometimes we feel like we get burned later. They're not as conservative as we thought. Kanye has such a huge megaphone. He's obviously somewhat of a controversial figure as well, based on what he said in the past. Charlie, just to start with you, how does he play into all this other than, I want to hear from both of you on this, but how does he play into all this other than just getting a lot of attention? You know what I mean? How is he changing the conversation?
I'll be the first one to admit, I was your typical macroeconomic loving kind of conservative individual that wasn't part of the culture that,
You got a high paperback in your bag.
I know what I mean. Like I became a conservative based on reading Free to Choose and Ludwig von Mises. And I think it's amazing that someone like Kanye West is broadening the conversation. And it was Candace that opened my eyes to this. And I wasn't that I was resistant, but I was like, really, Candace? Wait, what do you mean that we can? She said, no, you don't understand. From one of the first times I met Candace said, Charlie, Kanye West can change the national conversation around these issues, and I think that he's more of a Trump supporter than people give credit. In fact, Candace is on record with our friend Dave Rubin saying this back in September of 2017, kind of predicting the Kanye movement, I guess you could say.
The Kanye movement.
Kanye movement, yeah.
I'm going to use that word, and I think that's true.
I've
Candace can tell the future, huh? Interessante.
sort of followed Kanye's career for a very long time. So when I was asked that question of who I admire, I said Kanye West, because he's always been, long before Donald Trump came down the escalator, it was Kanye West that's been the battering ram against political correctness. And I knew that someone with his personality wasn't going to be able to exist comfortably on the left anymore, because we are now being told what to think, how we have to think, who we have to love, who we have to hate. And that's not comfortable for anybody that's an artist. And their stranglehold on culture is really what Kanye is sort of taking a stab at. Now, I want to be clear, based off of my conversations with him, he's not a Republican, you know, and I think that that's an important thing to distinguish and to make clear, distinction to make, because in many ways I've said I'm not a Republican either, but he is a free thinker and he values ideas. And unfortunately, if you believe in the ability to think and to have a dialogue, that is a position that's on the right today.
So, Candace, I do want to ask you about news of the day. Obviously, we have all these explosive devices that have been sent to prominent critics of this administration.
Right.
And in a tweet, you originally said you thought there was zero chance conservatives sent bombs. I think you took that tweet down.
Yeah.
But you later added, it isn't conservatives that are chasing people down in offices and restaurants. It isn't conservatives that have weaponized sexual assault as a means to political gain. I stand by my opinion that when it comes to political violence, the left is the likely culprit.
That's correct. So we've seen that.
So you think that it was the left or Democrats who sent these spike bombs?
I think we're all entitled to have an opinion. We don't have any facts surrounding this, and Twitter is a venue where you're allowed to express your opinions and beliefs. And
but just to be clear, so that's not based on any facts. That's just your
Of course, it couldn't possibly be based on facts. We don't have any evidence other than the fact that they're investigating it. But
I'll come to Candace's.
I do want to finish.
And also, that goes along with free speech. She can say whatever she wants to. I feel like she's grilling her because she made the statement, and it's just like, wait, what? Isn't that what this part of what this country is about free speech? And I think that's what Elon was trying to advocate for. You guys can let me know if you agree with the Elon takeover of Twitter, so to speak, which I don't think is happening anymore. But you guys can let me know how you felt about the whole situation, if you wanted Elon to take over. But regardless of that, it goes back to free speech. Candace can say whatever she wants to. It's up to you to decipher through the BS. It's up to us as individuals to have some critical thinking skills and be able to think for ourselves. It's not up to Candace. I'm just saying.
Just by just saying that it is my belief, when you take a look at the conversation, the things that have gone on and the increasing violence that's gone on, it has purely been a leftist tactic to stall things, delay the administration, and to fearmonger. So as a matter of opinion, I do believe that when we get to the resolution, the bottom of this, and we do have facts, we're going to say that this is orchestrated by the left, but by no means is that opinion rooted in any proof, because we don't have anything yet to go off of.
I could certainly point to Charlottesville. I could point to other acts that happen. I could point to Dylan Roof. I mean, there's certainly acts of violence that have come from that.
But do you see how far back you have to go to do that?
Charlottesville?
Yeah, that's literally starting at the beginning of his administration. Look at all of the things that have gone on.
I don't want to have this debate, because ugliness can come from both sides.
No, I'm just saying that you brought it up.
But I do want to ask you, though.
I'm just answering the question.
I mean,
It's crazy how she stopped it once she felt like she didn't have anything to answer Candace, but she was like, nope, I don't want to have this conversation.
You've got a big platform.
I do.
Right? And you have a powerful voice.
Thank you.
And kudos to you for creating that.
Thank you.
How do you view the responsibility that comes with that?
I view the responsibility of just being a person that maintains my ability to have an opinion, that I express an opinion, and no means that I say that I have just found the facts and this is related.
Yeah.
And I always reserve the right.
There's 0% chance.
Yeah. I said I'm going to go out and say that there is a 0% chance that this was sent by conservatives. I find all the things that are going on, the caravan of illegals, the
Am I wrong about that? Let me know in the comments. Is she, like, I don't feel Candace is wrong. She has every right to say she doesn't feel like a conservative sent that. Doesn't mean she's right. She could totally and 100% be completely wrong, but she has the right to say it. Am I tweaking? Like, is it too early in the morning right now? Like, what's going on? Because I feel like this host here is trying to insinuate that Candace is totally wrong for making that statement. Let me know in the comment section, please.
Packages that are being sent.
And you think
confirmation.
Just to clarify, you think the caravan too was organized by Democrats?
I find it to be incredibly suspicious timing, so that they are meant to get to the border on the day of the election. Again, this is not rooted in fact, but you do have to understand I am very much entitled to my opinion, and Twitter is my platform.
Candace, I have one more.
Just one more here, because I wanted to get to know you before you came on. Yeah. And I'm really interested in your perspective, because I think you're a fascinating person.
Thank you.
There was another tweet that said the Democratic Party is comprised of racist white liberals.
That is correct.
Am I a racist white liberal?
Well, let's go back. And let's say, I will say this, that many people in the party are not aware of their own racism. Let's go back to an early part of this conversation where you said to me, are you concerned about the color in the White House? Why would you ask me that question?
Because you speak about black issues.
No, but why would you ask me? Well, let's get to really the nucleus of this. Why did you ask me that question today?
Because
why did you feel that I needed to be concerned about that?
Because you're bringing a whole group of young African American leaders to the White House.
Okay, so this is something that I talk about often, is that in many ways white liberals don't realize that you put on that the racism and the conversations that we have.
So you're saying I'm a racist.
You haven't let me finish my statement. You keep cutting me off.
Go ahead.
Okay? The emphasis that you place is always on having a discussion about race. Okay? You guys are insistent on having a conversation about race and telling us that we should see, and implying that we should see race everywhere, and I don't agree with that. If you don't look at me according to the color of my skin, you would simply ask me how I thought that Trump was doing as a president. But instead, you try to drum up a conversation that's surrounded by race by asking me, are there enough black people in the White House?
And surrounded by the color of her skin. Don't come at Candace. Hey, she got the clap back, I'm telling you.
Of young black leaders to the White House.
Color, I don't.
That's something that's important to you.
But why are you talking about?
Then why make it that you're going to bring young black leaders to the White House? I mean, this is sort of absurd.
Because the media,
this is absurd. You're bringing this group to the White House.
It's not absurd. I'm making perfect sense.
I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to be extremely clear with you.
I know.
All right.
Bringing the black conservatives to the White House.
You view me as a racist white
I think
liberal.
that you're not. First off, you put those words in my mouth, and you keep saying it. So I'm not.
it.
I said that the Democrat Party is comprised of racist white liberals. Is every person in the party racist? No, but you're not aware of the fact that you put these racist tones out into the media. This is why we have to bring the black conservatives to the president, because you create a narrative when you're on TV like you did today.
Are you comfortable with
I'm going to have you on radio later because I have questions for you as well. But
okay, so Candace is saying that she feels obligated to bring black conservative individuals to the White House because of the narrative that the left has put out. Okay.
Actually have to get out of the segment now.
Do you think that language is helpful, though? I mean, just in terms of the national conversation.
Well, I could ask you, do you think it's helpful to ask me, just because I'm a black woman, if I'm comfortable with the amount of color that's on the administration? Do you think that that's helpful?
I think it's helpful and interesting to know your perspective.
It's not. It's you just trying to create an undertone that Donald Trump is racist, and it's wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen,
to me, is the reason why.
Listen, no.
I just want to say,
you're looking at me on the basis of my skin color and making a bunch of, making a bunch of deductions. I did not remember you said that, and you can run the tape back.
I want to say, look, here's what I want to say.
You quoted a tweet, and then you made it about
I
you.
appreciate.
So you were not added, but you were not added in that tweet. So do not say that I called you that, because that's dishonest. And we are on, on TV. So you can run.
Racist.
Okay, so I did not call you a racist. You're using the typical leftist tactic of trying to make yourself a victim, which is not what I want to say.
No, but we're actually well beyond time.
Well, she's making herself a victim and pretending that I came here and called her a racist. So this is a typical leftist tactic.
That we not demonize our opponents.
And I think it's important that you not demonize my president.
And one thing that I try very hard to do is to criticize the policies and criticize people who are in positions of power.
And I'm not sure how you were doing that by pointing out the color in the administration.
But not to criticize the people who support the president.
You literally spoke
That's something I try very hard to do.
But you're not doing a very good job of it.
And I think it's really important.
I think it's really important that you be aware that just because I'm a black woman, you don't need to ask me a question as basic enough as saying how much color is in the administration.
It's a problem to demonize our fellow Americans?
I think what's problematic is that you are creating a simulation that is dishonest, that is accusing our president of being racist based off of the color of the people that are in the. That's exactly what you asked me a question. That's what you implied.
Okay, I actually really appreciate you two coming in very much, and I look forward to getting to ask you some questions of my own at some point later on. And we're going to have to end the segment there. But thank you, and good luck at the White House today, and thank you for bringing young African American leaders into D.C.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll see you guys later on there. The devices sent all over the country have brought up an interesting question. Will the rhetoric on either side actually cool off? NBC's Megyn Kelly, had a pretty major misstep this week. Is her job in peril? Should it be?
Now, I use my iPhone all the time, but I'm not the president. New reporting on Trump's unsecure cell phone and who might be listening in. Team Rising is in next to talk about all of that.
So is that show a show that has a liberal and a conservative? Because it seemed like I want to say her name was Crystal. So is she part of the left and Buck is part of the right? If that's the premises of the show, I gotta admit, I like it a lot. To have two opposing ideas and have them both on the same show as host of a show, I like it. And from listening to the conversation, it sounded like the guy, I could be wrong about these people's names. You guys can let me know in the comment section. I'm just saying Buck and Crystal because that was on the thing right behind him, as you can see there. Buck seemed like a conservative. Crystal seemed like a liberal. She was obviously offended that, Candace said liberals are racist or whatever that tweet was. And Buck said, he was even going to go meet up with them at the White House. So, yeah, let me know in the comment section. I might be interested in the show. For the purposes of just having a balanced situation. I feel like a lot of shows lean a certain way. They totally lean left or they totally lean right. So when you have two individuals who are part of the opposite parties, I think that's a great idea. But you guys can let me know in the comment section below. And who do you think won the debate, the fiery exchange between Candace and Crystal? Who did that get hot there for a minute? Ooh-wee. My goodness, that got a little steamy. It got real steamy. Buck and I forgot the gentleman's name that came with Crystal, but Buck and him were just like totally out of the conversation. The two ladies were just going at it. And I gotta admit, I was feeling like I was in a McDonald's commercial. I was loving it. But as always, you guys let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Hit that like button. Greatly helps the channel out. Would really, really appreciate it. Just hit the thumbs up. It greatly helps out. All right. Comment down below what you thought. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. All right. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell that is next to it. Almost 90% of you guys that watch this channel on a daily basis are not subscribed. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I would really, really appreciate it. And if you think somebody else needs to hear this conversation, hit the share button that's down below. It's the arrow button. You can copy the link and paste it anywhere on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, your blog, anywhere. All right. Peace and love. I'm out.